In fighter planes they flew with us, these gallant men with silver wings. Brothers all through hostile skies, a peaceful world we sought to bring. Then flame from hell lanced upward, the air was ripped by jagged steel, and terror was the major thing that each of us could feel. All knew in such a frenzied sky that some of us would not survive. Yet their guns with ours erupting fire, into the face of death we dive. The gods of war by random choice called these young men to flame and die. We saw them spin like shattered hawks, but in memory still they share our sky. And now, in silent, ghostly echelon, these faithful comrades from the past will fly our wings in close formation till all our squadrons stilled at last. At a squadron reunion held 30 years ago, Doc Milligan, our flight surgeon, had bought a $450 bottle of the finest brandy ever made, had a beautiful wooden box made to contain it, presented it to the squadron to be consumed by the last of us still standing. I'm hoping to get that, which may explain why I'm still here at age 91. Now I have what I consider to be the most beautiful war story of all. You might want to sit down for this. The most beautiful war story of all. It doesn't involve me. Let me get Kuczynski put back. It doesn't involve me. It involves this guy. His name was Sherman Goodfriend. And that's his real name, Goodfriend. He was a lead bombardier in B-24s flying in Italy. The lead bombardier is the guy that sits in the glass nose of that bomber getting shot at first. He's the one with the bomb sight. He sights on the target and drops his bombs, and when his fall clear of the plane, all the rest of the bombardiers punch a toggle switch and drop theirs. So this guy had to be the best they had because he's sighting for everybody. He got a Distinguished Flying Cross, and he would never tell anybody how he got that. Even his family believed him when he said he was walking across the flight line one day and he saw a line of men, and he went over and got in the line, and when he got up to the head of the line, they handed him a piece of paper that said Distinguished Flying Cross. Well, I knew better than that because I know that the DFC is a congressional award, so I began to interrogate him. And it took me a month to finally find out, here's how he got that award. They came back from a mission one day and they had been shot all to pieces. 3 of their planes had gone spinning down in flames. Only one was going to be flyable the next day without a bunch of repair work done on it. And when they landed, they had a request there, a teletype from an American or an Allied outfit in Austria, asking them to come in and bomb a German marshalling yard that the Germans were using to move a bunch of heavy artillery through. They only had one airplane. Well, his pilot was a guy named Polanski, and Polanski said, I'll fly the mission, so Sherman said, okay, I'll go as bombardier, and they got a crew together and took off and headed for Austria. A lone bomber flying through enemy territory is a magnet for everything under the sun. They were getting shot all to pieces. A German fighter, Focke-Wulf 190, coming at him, and Sherman got off of his bomb sight and grabbed a machine gun and shot that fighter down. They fought their way all the way to the target. He dropped his bombs and sat there and watched them fall dead center right in the middle of that target and wiped it off the face of the earth. Then they had to fight their way all the way back. But they made it. That's how he got the Distinguished Flying Cross. Now, he had a buddy in his squadron who was a Protestant boy married to a Catholic girl.
Oh, yes.
And his mother-in-law just hated him for it. Well, after the front lines had moved north of Rome, Sherman got a 3-day leave to go to Rome. So his buddy had said, Sherman, do me a favor. He said, you know, the Pope comes out on a balcony outside of his apartment and blesses the crowd and all of their artifacts. Go to St. Peter's Square, buy 2 rosaries and get them blessed by the Pope and bring them back to me. Sherman's response was, I've never met the Pope. I don't know if I could pull that off. Well, you can at least try. So he does. He buys the rosaries. This is Pope Pius XII. Instead of coming out on the balcony, he invited everybody up to his audience chamber upstairs. So Sherman goes up with him, and he's standing there in the crowd. 4 Swiss guards carried the Pope in on a sedan chair so he could see over the top of the crowd. And he spots this American soldier in his uniform with his silver bombardier wings holding the rosaries. The Pope came over, put his hands on Sherman's hands and blessed the rosaries. Then he blessed Sherman, who took the rosaries back, gave them to his buddy, who sent one to his wife and one to his mother-in-law, and became the greatest son-in-law who ever lived. He got a letter from his mother-in-law, no woman could have a greater son-in-law than I. He never did tell either one of those women, Sherman's a Jew. That's why I say it's the most beautiful war story of all. Now, he used to come over and tell his story of the bomber experience after I finished my fighter. But he died about a couple of months ago, and toward the end he was getting too weak to do that. So he asked me if I would tell his story for him. And he came over and monitored me to make sure I did it right. So I've told you a good bit of his story. I think he chose me because I'm a Catholic, which is sort of a latter-day Jew. Now, they had when he died, they had a memorial service for him at the Temple Emmanuel, a big synagogue out on Northwest Highway. There were about I'm going to guess 600 people there. He was pretty well liked, admired fellow. And it's the only and they asked me if I would come in and tell his story to that group, including his family, who had never heard the story. It's the first time I've ever preached in a synagogue. Now, thank you for coming in. Y'all are what makes it worth my while to get up in the morning.
I appreciate that. That's very nice.
And don't just sit there, learn to fly.